"Wow, you look like a monster, such a ruining of beauty." Suddenly exposed to her scars, those words uttered by someone echoed well throughout the venue. The lady, hiding her face as if frightened and trembling, appeared to be crying, prompting me to instinctively grab her slender wrist. "Let's get out of here. There's no need to stay in a place like this." Her eyes, pleading as she looked at me, were as beautiful as ever. Unable to hide my outrage at those who had hurt her, we left the venue. The situation would rapidly change after that. My name is John. I'm just an ordinary guy with nothing particularly remarkable about me. After graduating from a local public high school, I went to a decent university in the metropolitan area and chose not to return to my hometown for work. I work at a fairly large company as an accountant. I struggle against numbers every day, but except for the busy end-of-month period, I often get to leave on time and have weekend off. There's a branch office in the town where my family lives, so I've thought about eventually moving back. One day my boss told me that I've accumulated too much paid leave and need to use some, so I took the opportunity to go back to my hometown. It felt strange being home outside of the usual holiday seasons. Yet, the familiar air of my childhood home was somewhat soothing, and by the second day, I was relaxed enough to nap on the couch with our family dog, Wooly. Wooly is a white toy poodle, named by my dad because he looks like a sheep. He's an absolute angel and incredibly cute. At one point, my phone pinged with a notification by the social media message. It was from Emily, a childhood friend. "Long time no see. I heard you're back home. Is that true?" A message with a sticker which is cute, popular character tilting its head popped up. Emily lives next door, and we've been childhood friends for ages. But it's not like there's any romantic feeling between us. We're more like siblings. I heard she's working as a journalist for a local newspaper now. Her talent for English and her inquisitive nature still seem to serve her well. Right now, I'm just chilling with Wooly, so bored with nothing to do. It's so unfair that you get to take weekday off. There's a high school reunion tonight at 7. It's just a small gathering with about 20 people. I'll let Joshua, the organizer, know if you're coming. Really? Count me in. Thanks. I replied with a sticker from my favorite basketball comic, and suddenly, I was looking forward to the reunion that evening. The high school I attended was a relaxed academic school in the countryside. Not many went on to prestigious universities in the metropolitan area, with most aiming for the local national university. Those who went to universities in the metropolitan area were either top students, had specific departments they wanted to join, or didn't have the grades for national universities. I was supposed to easily get into a national university, but I got the flu on the day of the common exams and couldn't sit for them. I ended up going to a private university after I recovered. I was devastated at the time, but looking back, I landed a job and enjoyed my 4 years there, so no regrets. But since then, I've been extra cautious about my health. High school was incredibly fun, filled with silly antics. All the guys in my class were great, and at graduation, we were crying like babies. Emily, my childhood friend, was in the same high school and the same class. Even now, when we meet, most of our conversations revolve around those fun high school days. In that class, there was one girl who caught my attention. Her name was Olivia. Her name had a beautiful ring to it, fitting perfectly for such a lovely girl. She was always smiling and adorable, smart, and the star of the volleyball team. She was the embodiment of grace and intelligence, yet so humble that everyone liked her. The thought of her possibly attending the reunion made my heart race a bit. I wonder if everyone has grown up. I don't feel like I've changed much. With a bit of anticipation, I started thinking about what to wear. The reunion held at a bar. I spotted Joshua, the organizer, and went over to say hi. Hey, John. Long time no see. I heard from Emily that you were coming, so I was looking forward to seeing you. Long time no see. Perfect timing. Really appreciate you organizing this, Joshua. Must have been tough, huh? Nah, I just arranged the venue, and everyone's handling their own orders. It's not a big deal, Joshua said, laughing. I've always thought this aspect of him is truly charming. Of course, he's got the looks, the style, and on top of that, he's a high-flying public servant. I wonder why he isn't more popular with girls. He's mentioned sadly that his work is so demanding he hardly has time to date, and even when he does, he struggles to find time to meet up, leading to quick breakups. Despite his high status, he faces his own set of struggles, which somehow gives me undefeatable feeling. Afterward, familiar faces continued to enter the venue one after another. Emily arrived with a girlfriend, and we high-fived, laughing about how long it had been. It's weird, right? Everyone's aged and changed, yet we can still recognize each other. It's mysterious. Well, you haven't changed at all, Emily. Still as petite as ever. Can't help it if I didn't grow taller. You haven't changed much either, John. You're just the epitome of average. You should take a leaf out of Joshua's book. He has always been a looker, hasn't he? We're just not in the same league. The same jokes from the past felt incredibly enjoyable. Even before we started drinking, the nostalgia seemed to raise everyone's spirits, reminding us of our high school days. Those were days filled with laughter and joy, no matter what happened. The atmosphere that brought us back to those times made everything feel even more enjoyable. Suddenly, there was a stir near the entrance. Looking over, I saw two women entering the venue. One of them was Samantha. She was the go-to person in our class, always at the center of everything. Her assertive and sometimes high-handed manner made her a bit difficult for me to deal with. The other girl, hiding her face with long bangs, was unrecognizable at first. As I was wondering who she might be, someone exclaimed, "Isn't that Olivia?" and the murmuring gradually grew louder. Indeed, the girl with the long bangs was Olivia, the beauty of the class. Her once confident posture was now hunched, and her face hidden. Nervous demeanor was far from the Olivia we remembered. On the other hand, Samantha was pulling Olivia along, forcibly integrating her into the mingling groups. "Olivia, what happened? You look like a different person." I hadn't been back home in a long time, so I had no idea what had happened to Olivia. I thought Emily, always in the know, might have some information, but she just shook her head. I heard she was in a traffic accident during university, but it wasn't life-threatening, so I thought she was okay. A traffic accident? Yeah, I heard it was minor injuries, but after that, she changed her WhatsApp and email accounts, so I lost contact with her. I don't know the details. I see. It wasn't like Olivia to change her accounts and cut off contact without telling anyone, but I didn't have any more information. Feeling oddly unsettled, I was left with a lingering sense of discomfort. Cheers. Following Joshua's call, we raised our glasses high. The refreshing fizz of the cold beer passed through my throat, making me exhale with satisfaction. Acting like an old man, are we? We're already in our late 20s. Laughing with the guys around me, I took another hearty swig. The bartender brought more beers to our table, and we continued to drink merrily. Joshua. In a deliberately high voice, Samantha, sitting next to me and Joshua, began to flirt with him. She wore a revealing dress that accentuated her figure and had a confident smile as she wedged herself between Joshua and me. She's not interested in me at all. I wondered what Olivia, who came with Samantha, was doing now. Looking around, I spotted Olivia alone in a corner, not talking to anyone, her head bowed. Samantha's perfume was overpowering, making me feel uncomfortable, so I decided to head over to Olivia. "Olivia, Long time no see. John, it's been a while. I was relieved to see her smile on her lips from behind her long bangs. We made small talk, and I sipped my drink leisurely. Eventually, Emily joined us, and as the three of us chatted, Olivia seemed to become more relaxed and even started to laugh. Hey, help me out here. Sitting next to Emily was Joshua, who had been entangled with Samantha just moments before. Was Samantha always like that? So pushy, it's kind of scary. Scary, she's just a classmate, man. She just keeps pushing without considering how I feel, and I don't know what to do about it. Seeing a handsome guy like Joshua overwhelmed by a girl's advances was funny, and we all laughed even more. Despite his good looks, Joshua seemed to have very little experience with romance and was also quite shy, which apparently made things difficult for him. "Ah, there you are, Joshua." Samantha, apparently having been looking for Joshua, sat down next to him again. She grabbed his arm and leaned in close, making it obvious to everyone that she was targeting him. Trapped between Samantha and Emily, Joshua gave me a troubled look, but there was nothing I could do except offer a helpless expression in return. "Samantha, Joshua seems a bit uncomfortable." Emily's cold comment made Samantha smile triumphantly. "Oh, Joshua didn't say that. You clinging to him like that prevents others from talking to him. John and Olivia haven't seen each other in a long time." Samantha frowned at Emily's words. Then, for some reason, she glared at Olivia and smirked maliciously. "Oh, Olivia, you wanted to talk to Joshua too, despite looking like that?" Saying that, Samantha leaned in and lifted Olivia's bangs. Olivia's bare face was exposed to everyone. Shockingly, there was a large, twisted scar running from her forehead down to her left cheek. "Stop it." Olivia tried to pull away from Samantha, but Samantha wouldn't let go of her hair. Olivia closed her eyes tightly, looking like she was about to cry. Olivia had a hit-and-run accident and ended up with a scar on her face. It's such a pity, isn't it? She had such a cute face. And now it's marred by this ugly scar, and the culprit hasn't been found yet, right? Did you have some grudge against someone? Olivia, you were quite popular, weren't you? Well, not anymore. Samantha's laughter sounded twisted and ugly. Feeling the madness in her eyes, I stepped between Olivia and Samantha, shielding Olivia's face from the crowd. "Samantha, that's really low." "What? I'm just being a good friend by bringing poor, injured Olivia out. Isn't that thoughtful?" "What are you even talking about?" Samantha's words made no sense to me at all. She seemed to think she hadn't done anything wrong, still wearing that twisted smile. "Well, she looks like a monster. It's ruining the beauty." Those words, uttered by someone, echoed loudly in the venue. Olivia, hiding her face and trembling as if scared, seemed to be crying, and I instinctively grabbed her slender wrist. "Let's get out of here. There's no need for us to stay here." Her eyes, pleading as she looked at me, were as beautiful as ever. Without hiding my anger at those who had hurt her, we left the venue. I led Olivia by the hand, walking aimlessly. It was the weekend and the streets were busy, but no one paid us any attention. After walking for about 15 minutes, Olivia quietly called my name, "John." Sorry." I quickly let go of her hand, and through the gap in her bangs, I could see her beautiful eyes. "It's okay, I'm sorry. Were you having fun before? Because of me?" "It's not like that at all. How about we start over, just the two of us?" "Really?" "Of course, let's go. How about that bar over there?" She nodded in agreement to my suggestion. That somehow made me incredibly happy, and my heart leapt with joy. Trying to hide those feelings, I hurried us toward the bar. We were shown to a semi-private booth, and after toasting with beers again, we naturally started talking. During our conversation, Olivia shared the story of her accident. It happened in my second year of university. I was coming back from a part-time job, and it had gotten dark. But I was walking through a residential area on a path I used every day, so I wasn't particularly cautious. Then, a red compact car hit me from behind. The impact was so severe that I lost consciousness before I could even feel the pain. When I woke up, I was in the hospital with bandages wrapped around my face. Seeing the permanent scar after the bandages were removed made me cry countless times. I felt so hopeless, thinking I couldn't go outside with this face, and I ended up shutting myself in for a while. That sounds really tough. Yeah, I still haven't fully come to terms with it. During that time, Samantha came to visit me. She said it was pitiful and claimed to be my friend. She was genuinely concerned and visited me occasionally. We also kept in touch through WhatsApp. I don't understand why she did what she did today. Olivia looked down again. Her expression was almost entirely hidden by her long bangs. But even so, I could tell she was probably wearing a sad expression right now. Didn't you keep in touch with anyone else? Like Emily, you were pretty close in high school, right? Samantha told me that with a face like this, no one would want to associate with me, and that I would only get hurt. I believed her and thought I had to live hiding away from people as much as possible. But you came to the reunion today. Samantha convinced me, saying it would be fine because she was there, but to be made a spectacle of like that. I couldn't understand why Samantha acted the way she did. It seemed clear to me that there was malice in her actions. That twisted smile of hers was frightening. To be honest, I can see Samantha as a good person you describe. I felt like her true nature was what we saw today. Seeing your scar, I don't think anyone would shun her or dislike her because of it. I'm sure our high school classmates, who know so many good things about you, wouldn't cut ties with you just because of a scar on her face. So, it feels like Samantha was the one pushing you to isolate herself. Could it be? Do you feel something off about Samantha too? Olivia seemed to be deep in thought, looking down. After a while, she looked up as if she had made a decision. I hadn't told anyone, but I saw the face of the hit-and-run driver. What? I didn't know him, but I saw him again unexpectedly later. I couldn't believe it and thought I must be mistaken. What she shared next was astonishing, and I felt strongly that we couldn't leave her accident unresolved with the perpetrator still unknown. And so, I reached out to my two powerful allies. These allies are Joshua and Emily. While Joshua only claims to be a public servant, he is actually a detective with the state police. True, he is a local government employee, but he finds it troublesome to be bombarded with questions when people find out he's a detective. That's why only those close to him know about this. Emily, with her journalist's instincts and network, coupled with her proactive nature, is adept at gathering information and conducting investigations. Also, given her gut relationship with Olivia and her helpful nature, I hoped she could offer support, so I decided to share the story with her. I did a bit of digging into Olivia's accident, but the investigation was strangely cut off at a certain point, and I couldn't find out more. Maybe there came under pressure. The meeting place was a restaurant in front of the station. After listening to Olivia's story, I sent her home and then called the two of them. It seemed they were still at the reunion venue, and they hurried over right away. The person Olivia saw with Samantha. You mean the suspect was walking with Samantha? Samantha is known for flaunting her lifestyle, and she's boasted about having a relative who's a member of the national parliament. Which parliament member? From the Democratic Party, Ryan. He's infamous in certain circles for his shady dealings. His popularity is waning, and he barely made a comeback in the last election through proportional representation, but it's doubtful he'll make it next time. That guy, it's not out of the realm of possibility for him to exert pressure. Despite calling the meeting, I found myself sidelined as they rapidly advanced the conversation. I briefly wondered if those two were a good match for each other. Lost in irrelevant thoughts, I was brought back to reality when Emily slammed her hand on the table. "John, are you listening? We're going to commence a plan." While I was zoning out, they had apparently devised a plan. Their confident smiles were reassuring, yet slightly intimidating. Their plan was straightforward. Joshua agreed to reinvestigate the case, while Emily would look into the circumstances at the time and Samantha's social connections. Based on this, they planned to use Samantha's interest in Joshua to call her out and get a confession. Joshua invited Samantha to a dimly lit, stylish bar. He had a microphone in his pocket that was connected to Emily's phone. It could record and pick up voices, a very handy device. Olivia, upon her request, joined Emily and me in a corner seat far from where Joshua and Samantha were, to observe the situation. Joshua and Samantha sat next to each other at the bar counter. The bartender was an acquaintance of Joshua, and he had been briefed beforehand. Joshua's drink was prepared without alcohol. "I'm so happy you invited me, Joshua. I've wanted to talk more with you since the reunion." Joshua, usually shy, was lavishly flattering Samantha. Becoming generous, Samantha laughed in a high-pitched voice, her spirits high. It seemed she was quite drunk. Olivia watched them silently, with intensity. "Speaking of Olivia, have you been in touch with her since then? It was you who brought her to the reunion, right? Talking about another girl here, isn't that a bit tactless? You know John, right? Seems like he's interested in Olivia." Joshua casually brought me up, his face wearing a sly grin, as he questioned Samantha. With his good looks, that smile could easily deceive. To me, it seemed utterly unnatural. "John, oh, that guy, he was protecting Olivia at the reunion, right, I see." Samantha raised her voice disinterestedly, then started fiddling with her hair. Seemingly bored with the topic not being about her, she frowned, clearly displeased. It was shocking to see Olivia's scar. Even though it was planned, Olivia tensed up. Emily rubbed her back, looking at her worriedly. I was watching them to make sure I didn't miss any of her actions or expressions. Right. Poor thing. Such an ugly, big scar. Her life's practically over. Can't even go outside. Wonder what she'll do now. I thought you were close. You sound quite indifferent for someone who came to the reunion together. Well, it's none of my business, but I have to admit, watching a girl who used to be so popular become a shut-in has been quite entertaining. Samantha's face twisted into that same distorted smile. This is her true nature. Utterly twisted and corrupt. That girl, after the accident, she became a bit clingy when I showed her a little kindness. Well, I orchestrated that. I made sure she was isolated from everyone else and then played helpful person. She has no idea I was behind her accident. Samantha laughed heartily, downing her cocktail in one gulp. It was a cocktail that tasted good but had a high alcohol content. Joshua, knowingly offering her drinks, is quite cunning. It seems the strategy to get her drunk and talking is a great success. How did you manage it? Joshua's tone was gentle, but it was an interrogation. He's a master at questioning. Using a mix of soft and hard tactics, he was drawing out information from her. I had a friend help out. Of course, I paid them well for their trouble. It's something only someone who has charm like me could pull off. Amazing, isn't it? First, I filed a stolen vehicle report to hide the car, then had them hit her with it. It was late, so no one was around, and the license plate was hard to see. They just took a little drive afterwards and abandoned the car, since it was the actual owner driving. No other fingerprints would be found. Just had to get my friend to talk to the police, and it was no big deal. Everything was done by others, so I won't get caught. Smart, right? Yeah, really. I've disliked her since high school. Everyone was all about Olivia. But she's nothing special. I'm the superior one, right? Cuter, right? I should have been the only one in the spotlight." As she spoke, Samantha became increasingly agitated. Without the need for a microphone, their voices carried over to us. Samantha was jealous of Olivia. That's why she resorted to such a heinous act. It was just like the prideful Samantha. She couldn't stand the thought that Olivia might be better than her. Is that the reason? Quite selfish, isn't it? Joshua stopped smiling and narrowed his eyes. The soft atmosphere vanished, replaced by a tense one. Faced with Joshua's change, Samantha seemed lost for words. "Samantha, the truth is, I'm this kind of person." As he said that and pulled out a badge from his inner pocket, Samantha's expression grew increasingly stiff and pale. What Joshua produced was a police badge. It was something that proved his identity. "I've recorded our conversation. Would you mind discussing this in more detail? At the police station, of course." Samantha was stunned for a moment but eventually agreed to accompany him, seemingly resigned. Things would clarify everything. It was just when I too had breathed a sigh of relief. Olivia rushed in front of Samantha. "Samantha, I trusted you all this time. It's disappointing." "What? After all your dependency on me? You should just stay hidden away with that ugly scar. Living with such a scar exposed is just shameful." "Even so, I won't give up on my life. I'll struggle through, scarred and betrayed, and won't let things go your way. Stay out of my life from now on. Goodbye." After saying that, Olivia returned to us, standing tall with her back straight as she used to. Olivia, who declared her separation with a loud voice, looked cooler than anyone else, even if the expression she showed us was tearful. "You did well," I said, patting Olivia's head. She then broke down crying. Emily teased me for making Olivia cry. I didn't know what to do. Samantha, escorted by Joshua, left the bar. Having been told goodbye by Olivia, she was dazed and no longer violent. After the inquiry, Samantha admitted to all her crimes, and the man who executed the plan was arrested. The congressman, Ryan, fell from grace due to Emily's expose. Years later, the case was resolved. Olivia cut her bangs short afterward. Despite the painful scar, her expression regained its brightness, and she smiled charmingly. Joshua knew a skilled plastic surgeon to introduce her. Determined to try various skin treatments, she was optimistic, even if the scar didn't disappear completely. I sincerely hope her efforts pay off. Olivia and I are in touch now. After returning to my city from vacation, I found myself wanting to see her. I decided to request a transfer to the branch office at hometown. Until then, I want to deepen our friendship through calls and SNS. After a while, I received a message from Emily. Surprisingly, she had started dating Joshua. It seems they hit it off after that incident and went out for drinks a few times, which led to them becoming a couple. Despite their busy careers, they're making it work. Olivia and I often talk about them. Olivia and Emily have rekindled their friendship, going out together often. Emily looks truly happy, and I'm a bit envious, Olivia mentioned. Charmed by Olivia's lively voice, I couldn't help but blurt out, "Hey, should we start dating too?" I could sense her catching her breath on the other end of the line, and I broke out in a cold sweat for fear that she would reject me. However, the voice that came through was cheerful, instantly lifting my spirits. "Yes, I'd like that. Hope we'll keep our relationship for long." The fact that we were only talking on the phone was frustrating. I found myself wanting to see her right away. Her cheerful voice made me happy. Her laughter made me happy. I knew then that I wanted to cherish and protect her, this precious person to me, forever.